Hello, Succeeders. This is Stacy Barlow Hill, leadership and lifestyle coach, coming to you today. I am a coach who helps overwhelmed business owners better balance life and lead successfully. I don't believe that you can truly be successful in leadership until you have first been successful in leading yourself. To me, they're one and the same. So today I wanted to come to you today, and I have a blog post that I wrote that kind of compares leadership versus management. And I wanted to kind of read that and share that with you today. If you received my Stacy snippet yesterday, it was about responding versus reacting. And I've touched on this before, but that snippet was solely about that yesterday. And that kind of led me to think about leadership versus management. And while neither one is better than the other, or one is correct or incorrect, there's a major difference in the roles of those positions. And you may be in a position where you need to be a leader, but you may be acting as a manager, or vice versa. So I just want to kind of touch on the two today and kind of go over the differences between the two so that you know that you're in the right role, and if you're not, what you need to be growing towards. So, in short, a leader leads people, and a manager manages tasks. So if you ever see other human beings on your team, if you're not a leader already and you're acting as a manager, then you need to be shifting and growing towards leadership. You have to stop approaching everything as a task, because task and people are obviously very different, and you can't lead people the way that you would manage tasks. People need attention, they need care. You can't lead them all the same as you might manage tasks all the same. You have to lead to their strengths and their abilities, and you have to connect with them. It's a much more involved process, and it's a much more rewarding process because you're leading humans, you're not managing tasks. And while there may be some managers on your team that manage the task, your job is to lead the people, the person that's managing those tasks. So they may be managing, but you need to be leading them, not micromanaging what they're doing, and managing their task. So here are some of my thoughts on leadership and versus management. So first, I think that leaders lead by vision and mission, while managers lead by facts and data. So a leader will make decisions based on whether the info that they have supports their overall vision, the core values, and the mission of what the company and the organization stands for. When difficult decisions need to be made, a good leader will make them based on principle and integrity and what's going to best serve the company and the people who are ultimately a part of it. While a manager is usually concerned about the task at hand, and they're going to make decisions based off of facts and data, and possibly just in the priority of what needs to be done just to solve the problem at hand. Also, leaders are going to think about long-term effects and how a decision now is going to affect their companies and their teams in the long run. They're going to take the time to make decisions that make sense for the future, and where they're going to be headed as a company. And they're also going to consider their strengths and the weaknesses, and the team's strengths and the team's weaknesses. And it's going to allow them to just lead in their strengths, while managers are going to usually live in the moment and usually view the decision making as putting out a fire, and regaining control rather than thinking long term. Their role is to keep things on track and to move forward. They're not as concerned about the long term effect as a leader would be. Leaders also need to be confident in their own thought process, the ability to lead and to make decisions, especially in a time of crisis. Leaders need to work well under pressure. They need to be able to keep others around them calm. A leader's life is always filled with uncertainty. So the leader has to be able to pivot, to stay the course, and to be able to just lead your team at the same time while all this is going on around you. A manager is going to be more concerned with completing the task. And most of the time with managers, there's already policy and procedure in place, and their job is to carry it out. It may not be easy to do, but there's usually something in place that's going to allow them to carry that out, where the leader may have to come up with that policy and procedure that's needed to carry out their task. So again, it's managing tasks, not leading people, and what is going to make them different. Leaders think about everything that they do and how it affects the organization as a whole. They know that the rise and the fall of the company ultimately depends on them. They have the responsibility to grow and to develop other leaders on the team. They make sure that everyone knows and operates from the mission and the vision of the company. So it's a whole trickle down effect. So if your team is not performing, it ultimately falls back on you. Are you setting them up for success? Are you helping them to become leaders and to make decisions, informed decisions on their own? Or are you micromanaging and acting as a manager when you should be acting as a leader? So in this situation, the manager should understand the vision and the mission that the leader has for them, and they handle the tasks that fill that vision and the mission. Everyone's roles need to work together and support one another and to keep everything on track. So like I said before, there's no right or wrong role. It's just in understanding your roles. Do you understand what the role of a leader is versus the role of a manager? Some people are born with instinctive leadership skills, and some people have to work hard at it. You could have a combination of both. For a long time, I worked in management roles. I worked in retail for a long time. I worked as a store manager, and now looking back, I realize I should have been acting as a leader while I was mostly managing. So even though I did have people underneath me, and I had a team, I was more concerned about the sales for that day, and I was more concerned about who was showing up for their roles. And also, I was in my 20s and early 30s at that time. Actually, no, I was in my 20s working in retail, so I had a different frame of mind as now. But I often think back, had I approached those opportunities as a leader, I think we could have done so much more and have gotten to greater levels. So basically, know your roles. And if you are in management and you desire to be a leader, seek out those mentors, seek out those people that can help you get there, seek out your leader, and ask for guidance and see how they can help you to grow towards being a leader. And grow towards being a good leader, an effective leader, an influential leader. And that's why this leadership and lifestyle coaching is so important to me, because in my mind, you can't have one without the other. Like, your lifestyle and your leadership goes hand in hand. What you feed yourself and your personal growth and how you show up for yourself, that's how you're going to show up as a leader. And those qualities and all of those things that you put in, they're bound to come out of you, and you want them to come out the right way, because it's different when you're leading yourself and now you're leading a team. What you do and what you are using to grow and to strengthen yourself as a person, that's what's going to come out in your leadership, and that's going to ultimately affect your team and your organization. And going back to responding and reacting, the more growth and the more wisdom that you have within inside yourself, it's going to ultimately have an effect on whether you respond or you react, and that is trickling down to your team. So I want you just to remember today what we talked about, and just seeking to continuously improve yourself. I always harp on that, because that's really what is going to make the difference in your growth. Your personal growth is going to affect the growth of your leadership, and that has the trickle down effect. So I hope you got some insight on that today from leadership versus management. That blog post will be up on the website soon, so liveleadsucceed.com. If you have not signed up for my Stacy snippets, you can also sign up on the website as well, liveleadsucceed.com, under the speaking page. You can go to the speaking page and you can sign up on there. And then the blogs will be available on there as well. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good one.